So I've seen different use cases and different types of value that
Okay.
automation can provide. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started, I remember one client, this is a person from my personal network. He
Okay.
hated doing one particular thing in his business. So I
Mm-hmm.
helped him to automate that. And it was also a realization for me that automation doesn't really need to bring, it needs to bring value, but the value can be in different kinds. It can
Okay.
be monetary value. So you can find some automations that bring you more leads.
Oh, hi everybody. Those who are watching and listening, welcome back to my show experiences with Anish. So it's been a while since I've posted videos. I think everybody were having their holidays, Christmas, New Year, and all those things. So now that I'm back, and today I have a special guest with me, who's Nadia, who's also completely into AI automation, helping out businesses to build out AI powered automations, and she's a founder of AI Insiders. So we're going to be talking a lot about her company, like what does she do, and all the other things that revolves around AI. So first of all, thank you so much for accepting my invitation and being on my show, Nadia. So how do you feel?
Thank you, Anish. Thanks for inviting me. I saw some of your videos on LinkedIn, and I was also curious, like what types of conversations you have. And I saw some of the prominent content creators on your show. So thanks
Awesome.
for inviting.
That's amazing. Like, thank you for watching my video. So to all my people who are watching, right? So Nadia have been on my radar for a while. Like, I've been looking at her content, and I think she has. Maybe I think she's not completely, focused on YouTube, but I've seen like few of your videos. That was like
Yes.
really good. So we're going to be talking about all those things. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, Nadia. So first, before we getting into our actual questions and all those things, right? Like, I think 2023 people have, I think 2022 where people started talking about AI. 2023, I think we had all this chat GPT and all those things. 2024, I think, we had so-called, large language models and like everything. Like we had a lot of people, a lot of companies who are competing in this space. And I think now in 2025, everybody states it's going to be, AI agentic, world and things like that. So like, what do you think? Like, do you have anything to say about it?
Well, personally, I like AI agents,
Okay.
but from just starting working with companies, and I'm in Europe,
Okay.
maybe that is also a huge factor. But I
Understood.
see that companies in Europe maybe are not
Mm.
ready, and they worry a lot about implementing even
Mhm.
basic AI workflows.
Okay.
Basic AI into their workflows. So I would say that we are far from
Mhm.
implementing the agents into companies, into businesses, even
Okay.
though a lot of businesses actually do that. But we'll see. I have huge hopes for
Mhm.
AI agents, and I also see the huge improvement from the visual side.
Okay.
AI videos, AI images are already at the point where you cannot differentiate people and
Very true.
things on those
Very true.
images from real ones. So we'll see how it evolves.
Yeah.
Because with agents and AI videos, who knows what will happen in
I
social
that's
media and how we communicate, like in general.
very true. Very true. Yeah. So thank you for this in a short intro about like AI agents. Okay, now let's get straight into our questions that we've been discussing. So what do you think is the actual value of for businesses when they implement AI powered automation, especially keeping cost in mind? Because we do currently know that when you're talking on a larger scale, we still know that most of this AI based companies, right, like where they run this large language model, right, like still they know that it is not running based on profit because it's because of the computation power and all those things. So now let's break down, let's break down completely and talk about small businesses and medium sized businesses where we're dealing, right? So like, what do you think is the actual value when you implement all these AI powered automations? Again, like, the thing is keeping cost in mind.
So I've seen different use cases and different types of value that
Okay.
automation can provide. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started, I remember one client, this is a person from my personal network. He
Okay.
hated doing one particular thing in his business. So I
Mm-hmm.
helped him to automate that. And it was also a realization for me that automation doesn't really need to bring, it needs to bring value, but the value can be in different kinds. It can
Okay.
be monetary value. So you can find some automations that bring you more leads, more revenue to your business. You can also find some automations that save you time and also mental workload. So if you are constantly dealing with many people who are messaging you, for example, customer support, and you automate customer support, obviously you have more time to focus on other aspects of your business. And the third value is just removing those tasks which people hate doing in their business.
Understood.
Like reporting, for example. No one likes doing reporting or taxes, and you can automate that.
Very true.
So I think that is where the value is. It depends on what the value is for you, what is the stage of your company. So you can outsource to AI some of the tasks that you are currently doing, or you can bring kind of new AI employees into your company that will bring you revenue.
Okay. So is that, I think this is where most of the small and medium-sized businesses make a mistake, I think. So because, when we go and talk to them regarding, say, any automation, right, be it AI powered or just a simple automation, like what do they think? So this is my personal experience, okay, so which is why I wanted to ask you this. So based on my experience, like what do they usually respond is that, is it going to give me more profit? So that's the only question that they try to answer. But as you mentioned, that can be in any forms or any kind, right?
Right. And I also believe that if they have employees, and now I'm trying to assess the need for AI automation, just in general for any automation. If a company saves 4 hours a month, right? So 4 hours a month, let's say it's how many? Around 50 hours, right? A year. And at 50 hours, at least in Europe, let's say the average price to hire a freelancer to do that job, or an average probably price will be for a company to keep an employee is 50 euros or $50 per hour, which brings it to around 2,500 US dollars a year.
Understood.
So if you invest that money and you save 4 hours of your time each month, it would make sense to implement an automation. And obviously I now see many people who hire freelancers, but instead of hiring someone else, they can use AI, for example, and it will cost less than they pay to a person. For employees, the same. I don't want to touch the topic of replacing people with AI, but in general, also it can bring value. You can allocate people to do different, more valuable tasks, right? And also remove some workload from them, so they have more mental space to deal with business tasks.
Very true. That's what, I think sometimes the monetary value cannot be direct. Like people can, like, they cannot see directly, but as you mentioned, that can be a lot of, indirect value to it. Say, for example, you said that people, when they, use this AI powered automation, they're going to be reducing a lot of manual work, which in turn gives them more hours, which can then be totally put into some other place, or like, as you said, which in the later stages, they're going to see this monetary value. So I think that's where small businesses and medium businesses have to understand that, it's not always that you're going to get the monetary value indirect, but it's going to be a lot of indirect effects on that. So I think
yes,
that's...
and I also believe that for especially small businesses, for one-person businesses, or for those 3 to 5 people businesses, they usually spend a lot of time on their business and they sacrifice their family life, for example. So they can automate and maybe lose some revenue, but instead they will get more time with their families, which is also a good option to have, right?
Very true. Very true. Now, again, like I just wanted to talk to you regarding this amount itself, okay? Because there has to be some sort of threshold, right? Like what I wanted to ask you is that, what is the approximate amount? Maybe we can just discuss it in US dollars, okay? It's actually required to set up AI powered automation. See, I know this is like, very vague question is what I think, because you cannot give, a strategic, I mean, like you cannot give a straight answer to this, but obviously there has to be some sort of, threshold amount, right, for anything. So like, what do you think is the threshold amount in US dollar for any business that they require in order for them to, implement this AI powered automations?
So as I mentioned before, like $2,000 a year would be a good place to start and to implement, let's say, one or maybe even a couple of automations. It
Okay.
depends on, I mean, from where you hire the person, right? It depends on the rates. But it is already enough to get the first impression of what automation can do for you, for a business.
Okay. Understood. So
Obviously,
that because
and I had clients who just ask for a technical consultancy, and they try to build something on their own. They have better understanding of what they want
true.
because they understand their business, right? And they
Very
only
true.
need some technical support. So they even paying for a couple of hours of technical consultancy, they already get the results from automating some parts of their businesses.
Okay. Understood. Got it. So that's what, I think, as you've mentioned, if they truly understand the value, I mean, the value of their business and how are they actually trying to, like, what's their objective? If they try to understand their actual objective for this AI powered automation, I think they can like literally break down all these things, like, how much amount they're going to be spending and all those things.
Yeah. It's still, the budgets will be totally different for small businesses and for enterprises. Enterprises can spend a lot of time even on consulting
Very true.
and education their personnel, right? Then for implementation, they have even higher budgets with different requirements. Requirements are also important.
Very true.
So
Very true. I mean,
there is no one right answer to that.
okay, got it. Sure. Now that if you've understood basics about, like, the CI powered automation, now obviously there has to be some sort of platform. When I say some sort of platform, I think now we have n number of platforms. Like every day you wake up to a LinkedIn and people say that today I've used a specific tool to build this AI automation, and tomorrow it's, the list keeps going on and on and on. So like, is there any sort of text tool that you would recommend, or like which you actually use for building the CI powered automations? And would you recommend any of these tech stack,
So I
or like the tool
started,
stack, I would say?
yeah, I started from make.com. I believe like almost any person who is
Yeah.
into AI automation knows about
Mm-hmm.
make.com, and it's a good starting point. I like
Okay.
their community and how much support they provide. So if
Mm-hmm.
you get stuck somewhere, you obviously can find an answer there. I also use some open source platforms like
Okay.
active pieces, but I know that many people use n8n. I didn't like it, so I used active pieces instead for some of my projects. And I use RELEVANCEAI to build agents.
Okay.
And I also, for voice agents, I used Vapi.
Awesome. Now I think we're gonna have a lot of controversial talks, and it's not gonna be in a too depth, like, because you said that you do not like n8n and active pieces, right? Like I've heard about it, like I've also give it a try, okay, but I don't think active pieces is much. I don't think people know about this active pieces than what they know about n8n. Correct?
Right. I
Yeah.
just thought someone from my LinkedIn network introduced active pieces to me. That's how I learned about that.
Okay. Sure. Now coming back to n8n, like, can you give me your discrete reasons for not liking n8n?
It's hard to describe why not. I just don't like their user interface, let's say.
Okay.
It's quite complicated. I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
that they have a good platform for building agents. That is a good advantage, right? But
Understood.
for other things, like personally for me, when I needed in make.com, I lacked the ability to write some code. And
Okay.
so I found active pieces, and active pieces allows you to write code and include some third-party libraries.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I found useful. But for agents, I personally use Relevance AI and not n8n. But
Yes.
I'm quite open. It depends on the project.
Yeah, true. Understood. No, because I mean, like, even people have to talk about n8n and its drawbacks and all, right? Because I've seen, maybe it is because of my community feed or like my LinkedIn feed, I don't understand, but everybody praises n8n. Even like I love n8n. Like I do most of this use cases, AI agent stuff on n8n. Like I really like, but still, obviously, there's always the other side of the coin, right? That we have to understand, like, what is the downside of it. So it's good to know that even people are not actually recommending n8n as well. So that's another group of people we have.
I wouldn't say that I'm against n8n. It's just
Hmm.
personally, I feel that
Yeah.
my tech stack for now is a little bit different.
Understood. And is there anything that you would like to add about relevance here? Because I've had the experience of using relevance here, and I think I've built like around 1 to 2 use cases,
Okay.
specifically AI agents
Did you
on
like
relevance
it?
AI. Yes, I would say our relevance AI, it was like first and foremost thing, it was like very easy to learn.
Right.
That's the best thing is what I would say, because for any of the people who want to get into AI agents, like it's very tough, right? The first thing what I really loved about is that we were able to learn easily, and secondly, the best part is that we can literally, I think, they allow us to download and install third party packages and all, right inside
Right.
Relevance AI.
Right.
So that's another great thing, because
Yes.
so what I do is I personally do not have a lot of subscription for maybe Anthropic, OpenAI and all. So
Hmm.
what I do, I personally use for testing and experimental purpose, I use a lot of Gemini models. And as you might
Okay.
know, Gemini models, they give a lot of free version to them. So
Hmm.
in that case, when I wanted to use their models, right, I had to, when I wanted to use their models, when I wanted to use their SDK, like I was literally able to freely and easily download and install all the packages right inside Relevance AI. So that was,
Okay.
I would say the best part of using Relevance AI.
Do you know about Open Router that you can use to test
Yes,
different models?
I think, regarding Open Router, I think it was just recently, maybe a week or so, that I came to know about it. Like till then, it was surprising that I didn't know about Open Router, but now I'm happy that, I've learned, I've just seen that again. I've not yet put into use, but, I've done it.
Mhm.
And is there anything else that you would like to add when it comes to using this Relevant CI platform,
I
apart
like
from,
how
my
easy it is
experiences?
to build agents there. So when
Okay.
I was using it to build tools, I would say that yes, as you mentioned, I like that coding piece there, and then you can basically attach so many different tools there. But then when
Yes.
I started using agents, it was like a wow moment for me because it was so easy to build those agents, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the reasoning, should I call it reasoning? So they have that capability built inside that, let's say your agent calls some tools, and yeah, you can also define the workflow and which
Mm-hmm.
tools should be called after each one's. And it also has that internal capability to retry some of the tools, which is super useful.
Understood. Yeah. And that's what, like I think, as I've told, like I did not dive deep into it, but I've had the chance of at least building 2 use cases thus far, and it went like really well. So what do you have to say about the community and the support? Like not only the community and the support, like people around, like how do you see about this? Is there anything good about it? Like do you
In
get all the help that you
RELEVANCEAI
need?
or
Yes, in Relevance AI, in
RELEVANCEAI,
Relevance AI.
they have good Discord channel, right?
Okay.
And that's where you can get help. But at the same time, I know some downsides to that platform. Like they used to remove some features without notifying users. It happens
Oh,
to some low tiers. Uh, like
okay.
for the lowest tier, they
Hmm.
removed LinkedIn integration and put it on a higher tier, which is quite expensive for beginners.
Well, like I didn't know this.
Yeah, they used to, so they introduced something and then they removed it. And it was something that, as a user, I didn't like, obviously, when I started
Okay.
using it and offering it to clients. But then I had to tell my
Hmm.
clients that, you need to upgrade your subscription, right?
Okay.
But in general, there are some complications, obviously. There, as a technical person, I don't mind because I can figure out
True.
almost
Understood.
anything on the
Yeah.
platform. For a non-technical users, I think that
Mm-mm.
the learning curve would be quite steep.
Understood. Got it. Sure. Because, that's what I really, because, we have a lot of this platform, and it's like sometimes like really confusing for people to literally choose which platform. Because you see, for example, if you are a retail or, a very big business, like you have a
Mhm.
lot of money and time and resources to experiment with a lot of tools, but that is not possible with small and medium sized businesses, right? So it's
Right.
good that we have a lot of, people talking about all the, advantages and the disadvantages of every platform, so that people will know exactly which of the platform is going to be useful I mean, right for them, and then they can start using it.
It is still quite complicated because new
Hmm.
tools constantly appear and you might have something that is better. That
Yeah.
happened in voice AI space where people started using VAPI, and now I see that everyone recommends RELEVANCEAI or even other
Yes.
platforms.
Yeah. And we also had this 11 labs
11 apps,
bringing their
yeah.
agents as well. So what people do is, like, in fact, I have a prototype in mind which I'm planning to build it soon. Okay, so which is I've just seen this tutorial where they use the 11 labs and n8n. So they're using 11 labs for getting the voice, and they're using n8n to actually communicate with
As a
tools
backend.
and take actions, all these things. So that's like amazing, correct?
Yes, but still, so each platform has its own features
Mm-hmm.
that are not present in other tools.
Very
And you
true.
never know, it depends on how scalable you want your solution to be, depends on your goals. And maybe you can start with one tool, but then you realize that you have hit the limit, so you need to switch to another one.
Very true. Very true. Understood. I think, with that, we've got a basic understanding of, like, which platforms to actually look out for. So that is good. Now, coming back to your YouTube videos. Okay. So I remember, before, actually trying to get you on the show, like, I did a lot of, research about, like, all the work that I've done. So I did watch one of your video, which is you fine-tuned your model using OpenAI's Playground platform. I think we can upload a JSON file and with all our content, and you fine-tune the model, right? So now, I wanted to ask you, how was the result first, and what's the amount that you've spent? I think there are free limitations, if I'm not wrong. I think when you sign up, they give you some sort of $5 credit or something. Again, I'm not sure about it.
Not,
So now
not
I
really.
wanted to, let you know. Okay, fine. So please let me know, like, what is the results and how much did you actually pay for it? And after that, like, I wanted to know, like, in which places do you actually use your fine-tune model? Like, what is your application with that? Do you use it with other platforms? Like, how does it work?
Okay, so the video that you saw, I recorded it more than half a year ago, I believe.
True.
At
Yeah.
that point, only fine-tuning for a 3.5 OpenAI model was available, and I
Okay.
fine-tuned it first on 3.5. The result was okay. It was just very interesting for me to see how it works. And I've
Mm-hmm.
heard from other people, and even from OpenAI, they recommended to fine-tune a model to achieve some specific tone of voice, let's say.
Okay.
And my use case was to fine-tune it on my LinkedIn posts to help me with content creation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, it worked quite okay. But then just a
Okay.
couple of months after that, the fine-tuning of GPT-4o mini and
Mm-hmm.
4o became available. And
Mm-hmm.
I did more experimentations with those. And the result with 4.0 was fantastic. I
Okay.
use it to this day. I have a fine-tuned model, which is fine-tuned on 100 or around 100 posts
Okay.
from top LinkedIn creators.
Okay.
And each time when I write my posts, I use one of that, not one, that one fine-tuned model with GPT-4o. And I give my draft post, and it
Okay.
returns me much better written
All right.
post after that. It's not always perfect, but it works. And I even like that it gives me more creative freedom. It gives me a couple of variations from which I can create something good. The cost
Understood.
was not, it, it is negligible, right? Because I don't remember, I just looked it up today. You pay $4 for 1 million tokens.
Yeah.
So the cost to train the model was built somewhere around $1.
Okay.
I think people have misconceptions about how much it costs to fine-tune a model. Maybe if you fine-tune it on hundreds of thousands records,
Yeah.
then it gets expensive. But if you do small experiments like that for content
Mm-hmm.
creation, for tone of voice, OpenAI states that even 20 examples is enough, but
Okay.
100 is good enough.
Yeah. Very true.
And with 100, you spend less than $1 for that. Then the cost for running the model is a little bit higher than for a not fine-tuned model, but still,
Mm-hmm.
from my calculation, you can, with $4, you can create more than 1,000 posts.
Okay. Understood. I mean, so that's really thank you so much for breaking this down because as you've mentioned, right, uh, all this fine tuning. I think like what we are doing basically is that we are doing some sort of an in context learning because as you've mentioned, we are not taking thousands of records to actually build out our yeah, fine tune model. So in that case, again, it's going to cost a lot. We have to have a lot of computation power, and again, that cannot be done easily without this playground and all. Obviously, we have to do it separately. But now I'm happy that all these platforms give out this privilege for even for non-technical people, even for small businesses to build out these applications, right? So that was like really good. And as you mentioned that the results are like fine because I wanted to ask you about another fine tuning which we'll get to in a second, okay? But before that, like where do you actually use this? So do you directly use it in your playground itself or do you integrate it with any other, like how does it look?
Right now, I just use it inside Playground, but you can
Okay.
also use it inside make.com, for example. And when you connect your OpenAI account to make.com, you have a list of models available and fine-tuned models. I am on those available, so you can
Yeah.
obviously use it there.
Understood. But I think, when we're talking about using it on Make, right? So by default, I don't think Make will list out the fine-tune model. I think we have to
It
use
will.
HTTPS, correct? If I'm not
No,
wrong.
no. If you
Okay.
connect your account, you
Hmm.
should see it in that list.
Okay, so I think then maybe that's the issue with Google AI alone. I think, we'll talk about that in a bit because I've had this experience, which I'll tell you in a bit. Okay, I think at that time probably we can talk about
Mhm.
it. So I think, with that, it was really good understanding this AI, fine tune using OpenAI. All right. So now, so talking about the other fine tune. So have you had any experience of using the Google AI Studio to interact with your Gemini models?
In general, yes, but not for fine tuning. I found it very exciting that
Okay.
they allow you to talk to the model, and
Hmm.
also just yesterday I filmed a video. It will be released soon. That Gemini model can actually watch a video. So
Yeah.
unlike other models that just do transcription,
Hmm.
this model Gemini, it can watch videos and it can
Yeah.
analyze videos as well, which is
Yes.
super cool.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, like you've not got the chance of actually, using the platform to fine tune, correct?
For fine tune, no. I see that they have only 1.5 Gemini available for fine tuning, so the
Hmm.
point 2 version is not available for tuning right now.
Understood.
And
So,
what's your experience with it?
yeah, that's what, I just wanted to tell you that, I've had this experience, but I've taken a very small set of data. Okay. I think I've just taken around 35 to 40, if I'm not wrong, 40 LinkedIn pieces of my own account. Okay. And I've done this, fine tuning. I would say I would say the result was like again, it was like okay. I wouldn't say it is like wow and all. It was like really okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's the first thing. And second thing, sometimes it doesn't understand what we're actually even asking. Like what does it actually do is whenever I give it a draft, like as you mentioned, right, it
Yeah,
is actually trying to explain me what the draft is instead of rewriting the draft.
I see.
uh, I think maybe is it because of prompting or like I don't understand. Like I'm still trying to figure it out. Like what is the issue with that? Okay, but one thing what I really love about is that again it's completely free to use.
Mhm.
Even I don't think yeah, I've they have this limitation, but for the free version they have a very good number of API calls and all those things. That's like very reasonable. Okay, so it was completely free to use. That's well. Sometimes it doesn't understand. Maybe I think because of prompting. Again, I'm doing a bit of research. Okay. And the other issue what I face, which I wanted to tell you, is that uh, even though we use this Gemini model directly in Make or in n8n,
Mhm.
correct? They do not list out the fine-tuned model. So what we've got to
Yeah.
do is we've got to use either an HTTP module, right, to send out
Okay.
API requests to call out our fine-tuned model. So that's an issue. So unlike OpenAI, they do not directly, they do not directly list out the fine-tuned model.
Mhm.
So I
I
think
think in
that's
general, the support for Gemini models is not at the level as it is for OpenAI, because OpenAI
yeah,
has been with us for 2 years now,
yeah, very
and
true.
Gemini appeared recently.
Yeah, and one more thing, like what I really love about is that I think they have the best long context window currently. I think they
True.
have the highest, which is
This is
two
so true.
million. Yeah, 2 million, and even for the free version, right? Again, if you take Claude, right? If you just hit out, maybe if you're doing some complex operations and all, you within just 2 to 3 messages, they block you. They say that, I'm saying if you're in a free
Mhm.
version. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're in free version, if you're trying to do some sort of complex one, right? Within just 2 to 3 messages, they just say that, you're out of free messages, you have to wait, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
And when you talk about chat gpt, I think again that's the same. They just give you 2 to 3 messages using 4o mini and all those things, 4o and all. After that, they just, it just
Mhm.
goes back to the same old model. But I think Gemini is the only platform which I really, this is personal, okay? I'm not trying to, say that OpenAI is not bad and all, but I'm just saying personally, Google Gemini is the only platform that has such a big, huge context. And the other thing is that they do not give you some sort of restrictions. You can literally use for, creating so many posts and all those things. So that was like really
I
good.
have I have one comment about it because recently I used AI to help me with coding stuff. And
Okay.
in coding, I used that Claude Dev extension, which allows you to write code inside Visual Studio. And there you
Okay.
can also pick different models. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried the best results I got with Claude, but Claude also I'm on a basic tier. So it's a paid API, but it's basic tier. And they have very low limits on that first tier.
Yeah.
Then, so I quickly got restricted. So each day I've got those rate limits and so on. It was not convenient to use. With GPT-4o, uh,
Okay.
it consumed so much money that it wasn't um, usable in
Okay.
yeah in a way that I wanted to use it. And with Gemini, you are right. So I hit the limit with Gemini
Oh,
when I used it for recording, but the the thing is that the result was not as good as it
very true.
was with Claude.
I mean, like
But it depends
I
on your
don't.
use case.
Very true. No, I do not have any, I would say, no, I'm like, I'm not trying to defend Gemini at all, because when you talk about writing and when you talk about coding, right, Claude is the winner currently.
Yeah.
Like, because I am from a non-technical background, okay, like I do not have much knowledge on coding. When I want very small pieces of code or coding and all, right, so I'll try to compare all the three, okay, and the very platform which gives me right answer at the first attempt itself is Claude. So without a doubt, it's
Mhm.
going to be Claude. Even let's say if I want to do any sort of LinkedIn content writing and all, right, it's going to be Claude. So Claude is like really good. There's like no doubt about it. Like
Agree
they
with
are
you.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. But the problem again is that when we're trying to do a lot of things at once, of course we get we do not have. I think we have to go to this higher plans and all. So that's I think one
But then if
drawback.
you use it, or if you use the UI version and you constantly
Yes,
get those limits, then you can use
very
API
true.
instead
I think yeah. In that case, I
and
think
pay
it's good that we
with.
start using API.
Mhm.
Yes. So yeah, I think with that, this is where I just wanted to talk to you about, because I had this. I've been trying to build out a use case for LinkedIn content generator using my fine-tuned model on Google. Okay, but I've had a lot of issues. I couldn't call my fine-tuned model using API requests. There was a lot of issues, and then I tried to reach out to a lot of people in my LinkedIn as well, and then I got few help with that. I think it was yesterday that I successfully completed this, mini project is
Oh,
what I would say.
congratulations.
I thank you so much for that. Like I've tried a lot. To be frank, I've tried a lot. But again, I'm from a non-technical background, so I had a lot of issues. Uh, when I hit a API request, right? If it's the general model, it's going out fine. But when I'm trying to call out this fine-tune model, I had a lot of issues. But
Okay. Good
successfully,
to know that.
successfully I was able to do that, and soon I think I'll be making a post about it as well. So with
I'll be
that,
waiting for it.
really, thank you so much. Now I think what I wanted to ask you regarding all this small businesses, tools, and all, everything is like fine. Like I've understood your perspective, which was good to know. Now I wanted to end this with freelancing part, and maybe for agency, right? Say for example, like even I am a freelancer, okay? I wanted to do this. I wanted to help out all this, I mean, businesses, building AI powered automations and all, okay? So how do you think that, they can actually start getting these clients for this AI powered automations or any sort of automations? Because uh, I feel personally that's, it's a bit difficult for me. maybe I do not know exactly, maybe I'm lacking a strategy or something. Like, can you give me some practical ways of like how a freelancer or maybe an agency owner itself to get out there and get clients for building and implementing AI applications and automations for businesses?
So I can first tell you about my experience and then tell you
Sure,
my
would love to
observations
hear that.
about others
Sure, sure,
as
sure.
well. So my experience at that, I was creating content on LinkedIn and I started in the middle of 2023, right? So it's
Okay,
already more than a year and a
okay.
half ago. And right from the beginning, I started getting a couple of requests here and there. But the problem was that people were not ready and there was a misconception about what was possible to do with AI.
Mm-mm,
So initially, like for the first half of a year, I didn't close any client. So I got those requests, but it ended, it all fell through, right? Then I
okay.
started, but from LinkedIn, I've got a couple of offers for freelancing, and
Okay.
someone noticed me from LinkedIn. And then I started my YouTube channel as well. And I'm also a part of an AI community. So I found some consulting work from the AI community
Mm-hmm,
because that community combined not only technical people, but also people from the business background who needed technical
mm-hmm,
help. And that is how I was able to provide my technical consultation services. And then when I started YouTube, that is from where I've got the best types of clients,
well,
and people just reach out, from my YouTube content. I get more clients from YouTube than more requests, at least from YouTube than from LinkedIn.
that's unique, I
It
would say,
seems that
because
I would say that on LinkedIn, I get a lot of people from my industry, other AI automation people who want to learn something, but
mm,
they don't have budget to invest into building solutions, right? And I get some requests where people want to get technical help, but again, they are on a shoestring budget, right?
understood.
But from YouTube, from what I see, people have better perception already of what AI can do,
Mm,
and they are more serious if they are watching my tutorials. So that is how they find me, and they already trust me, and they have some ideas, and usually also they come to me asking for specifically what I have already built or something similar to what I have built.
okay. I mean, I would say one thing is unique for me because, I've seen people who are getting a lot of leads from YouTube as well. But uh, today, I think in the recent time, I think you were the first guest and the person who told me that you're getting more requests from YouTube than on LinkedIn. Because currently everybody says that, I'm on LinkedIn, I create a lot of posts on LinkedIn and people are reaching out to me through
But
LinkedIn.
do
But
you know if it's true? Because my perception also is that many people don't tell the truth on LinkedIn, especially if they
okay,
create content about something, and I can understand them. There is nothing wrong with just positioning yourself well.
understood. So it's that, when we start creating YouTube videos, so it is like we are doing live, we are showing them exactly what are we good at. So that's when people get to know our authority. Is that what
I
you're
also
trying?
think, yes, I also think that I I've heard it somewhere that people need to spend with you 6 hours before buying something from you. And
Okay,
obviously it is easier to get 6 hours of watch time on your YouTube videos rather than getting the same amount of time from LinkedIn content.
so true. I think, really thank you so much for this. I think because, uh, so far what I've done is I've done a lot of videos like this, like what we're doing currently, right? I bring out all this guest, okay? But I have not had much request for that. I think it's better that, apart from doing this guest interviews, I should also show all the things that I'm building side, right? I think that is when people have this authoritative,
Yes, I believe it
thing.
will help you tremendously.
Okay.
It
I
takes
think
more
most
time. It takes more time.
true.
Also, maybe that on YouTube you would have less competition than on
Yes.
LinkedIn. On LinkedIn,
Yeah.
obviously, it takes less time to create a text post than a YouTube video.
But more
But then you
competition.
will get. I believe, yes, I believe you still get better results from YouTube. And I've heard some stories where people started YouTube channels and they now have so many leads that they constantly grow their teams.
Understood. So that is so good, Nadia. I think, with that, we've come to the end of our session. So it is really great to, talking to you, learning a lot about your fine-tuned way and all those things. Okay, it's like really good. So is there anything that you would love to add?
Maybe on the last topic, I would also say that I've seen some people who still get clients on Fiverr or Upwork. And I was myself considering also going that route, because at least you have people who are serious about
True,
implementing AI. On
true,
LinkedIn, you
very true.
get so different kinds of requests, and some people are just exploring. So they end up
Mm-hmm.
wasting your time.
Very true. I think, I mean, like if you take myself as an example, even like I was completely in explaining, exploring phase and all those things. So I think it is better, like one, in order for people to exactly trust us, because AI is still developing. Still, businesses are not sure about AI. So how do you convert them, or like how do you convince them? Is that you show them exactly what you do. You like literally go down the path. You give them step by step guide on like what you do, so that they understand like what's the actual value, and also they get the trust, like as you've mentioned. And
Yes,
also
exactly.
Fiverr and Upwork. So people who come on Fiverr and Upwork, it is because they require the service and they're thinking that I
Mhm.
need to get this service done. I think in that case people are going to be more serious towards their application. I think that is
Mhm.
when they start reaching out, so the conversion rate is going to be higher over there.
Yes,
That's
you
also
need to
another
meet your customers where they are. So your customers are usually on YouTube or on those platforms.
yeah, very true, very true. So I think we've come to the end. So is there anything else that you would love to add, Nadia?
No, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah. Sure. So, guys, I think with that, we've come to the end. So, really, thank you so much, Nadia, and for all the people who are watching and listening. So, I'll be linking down all the resources to, follow and learn about Nadia right down in my description. So, you can just follow that. So, until then, take care, guys. Bye.